How does it feel to party like it's 1999? Just ask Auburn. They are dancing back to the one line for the first time in 26 years.
Tigers are just doing whatever they want on the offensive end.
Bruce Pearl's Tigers clawed through the SEC to win the regular season title.
And it's a party tonight for Auburn.
Oh, and by the way, he also won the SEC Coach of the Year.
Oh, I'm getting better. Thrown to the hole, flipped and hammered.
Back to the dancing, and boy, the Janai Broom dance.
All-American move by Janai Broom.
The heart and soul of the team, and the SEC Player of the Year became the fourth player in Division I history with 2,500 points and 1,500 career rebounds.
Double hand, slammerino. Chad Baker, the three-point maker.
Can the SEC regular season champs get back to the Final Four and take home the first title in school history?
Well, they are the 1 overall seed, and of course the 1 seed in the South. We just talked in the last segment the challenging nature of their path. Louisville-Creighton would get the winner of Auburn, and either Alabama State, St. Francis. Michigan in there as well, and at the bottom, Iowa State. Chris talked about that being a dangerous spot, and obviously Michigan State is the 2 there in the South region. So we bring John Rothstein to the desk. John is certainly on a heater so far.
Yeah, and the gas is still
today.
coming.
Yeah, no, that's why,
still coming.
That's why we've invited you. We're going to pull the string and let you go. Who is the biggest challenge to Auburn in this region?
Michigan State, because Michigan State has the requisites of a team depth-wise that can match up with Auburn if it gets to a regional final. Michigan State does not have a Miles Bridges. It does not have a Jason Richardson, a Mo Peterson, or a Mateen Cleaves. But Michigan State, depth-wise, has the requisites to go toe-to-toe with Auburn. But regardless of that, Michigan State, also like Auburn, was able to go through a power conference and separate itself. And it's very difficult talking to multiple Big Ten head coaches about the Spartans to prepare for Michigan State because you do not have one player to key on. They don't have a Wally Zerbiak like Miami, Ohio had 99. Chris, when I met you, you kept me at arm's length because of your boss, Jay Wright. But I do want to say this. When I met you, you had a team in Villanova that was Scotty Reynolds and a supporting cast. This isn't Michigan State, but they're hard to prepare for.
They certainly are. The question is who could beat Auburn? For me, it's Creighton. That's the team they have to watch out for the most. Creighton, again, they have Ryan Kalkbrenner inside, right? The ultimate goalie. So he can neutralize Janai Broom, right? That's one situation. Steve Ashworth outside. They can make threes. Jemai Neal, if they can get ahead, and let's not forget about their coach, who is fantastic, right?
Great coach.
If they can get ahead, and now Auburn, who's lost 3 or 4 games, obviously they'll win the first round. It's going to be a test for them to beat Creighton, and they're going to find out how good the Big East is.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Checking out this bracket,
yeah.
Auburn only has one SEC team in their region.
A&M.
A&M. And A&M did just beat them. That was at A&M's, on A&M's home court. I really believe that Auburn getting a little bit of rest, re-racking, they've lost 3 out of 4, kind of just getting right. I think this team's going to just rip through this region like a chainsaw through butter. I mean,
heard that somewhere before. I heard that somewhere before.
I agree with you on Michigan State. That's the one team, toughness-wise, physicality, can handle Auburn. But Auburn has just been, they haven't had much to play for the last 2 weeks.
What about Michigan, who just won the Big Ten?
Well, yeah, they're big. Well, yes, I agree. But
Auburn has a war.
Not only having one SEC team in this league.
Yeah. We got somebody that can answer all this waiting. His name is Bruce Pearl, head coach, the Auburn Tigers, the #1 overall seed. We will have him join us live on Bracket Breakdown in hour number 1 right after this short break.
The Blue Devils are back on the top line for the first time in 6 years.
All the way in! Give it to him! It's an avalanche!
Which wouldn't be long for most programs. But it feels like an eternity in Durham, given that we've grown used to seeing those 4 letters on the top line 15 times.
Duke is the king of the dance!
Yes, 15 times.
We want something, we gotta go take.
Duke's trio of freshmen have been running through the ACC all year.
On, it's a 3. My goodness!
Led by Player of the Year candidate Cooper Flagg.
Cooper cooking. Get ready for the show!
Could this be the year we see a head coach win the title at the same school he did as a player? John Shire and the Blue Devil faithful will hope so.
Time for another region review in the East. Top seed, Duke Blue Devils, the ACC champs. Mississippi State, Baylor in the 8-9. Oregon, the 5. Arizona, Akron is really interesting. Our buddy Wally's going to have a lot to say about that matchup as we go on down through the East. BYU, VCU is intriguing. Wisconsin, the 3 against Montana. St. Mary's, Vandy, and Alabama. Robert Morris. So let's talk about Duke and who is the biggest threat out of the East region in your mind.
I'm going with the Oregon Ducks. Dana Altman, Nate Biddle. You have to change defenses up against Duke. You have to kind of muck up the game, try to confuse them a little bit. Dana Altman has been an outstanding tournament coach throughout the course of his career, taking teams way beyond where they should go. This is a fairly seeded team. I think they're a 5 seed, and they're going to have to go up against Duke, possibly in the Sweet 16. And the Oregon Ducks and Dana Altman, they're never intimidated by anyone. I mean, I think they're a team that raises the level of their game to their opponents. Sometimes they come down to their opponent also, but that's a team that I would watch out for if I was Duke.
Well, I don't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to agree with Wally. You know, I think that he's spot on, and I think when you look right now at potentially great round of 32 matchups, that Oregon-Arizona game potentially in the round of 32 is special, 2 former Pac-12 schools. But let's look at the makeup right now of Oregon with Dana Altman in the NCAA tournament. Many times he has went to the second weekend and went as a double-digit seed. He has not needed a high seed to advance to the NCAA tournament. Remember, in 2013, he went as a double-digit seed. In 2019, he went as a double-digit seed. So I think things are trending nicely for Oregon to win some games here.
For me, it's all about Alabama, led by Mark Sears. But this is a little caveat. Unless Grant Nelson plays, that's 6'11" right there, 12 points, 8 rebounds, potentially, even more some nights. He has to get his knee checked out tomorrow. But LeBaron Philon, Youngblood, they have energy. They run up and down the court. They can play. They have size. So I feel like they are a good matchup that, you know, Duke, if they see them later on in the tournament, could be somebody that could, you know, make it tough for them.
John, what about a player to watch out of this region?
Well, there's many, Brent, but I think we have to talk about Cooper Flagg and the health of Cooper Flagg because obviously that's the major storyline, I think, going into the NCAA tournament. Duke was good enough to get through the ACC tournament without Cooper Flagg and also Malik Brown, but to win a national championship, to get to a Final Four, it needs Cooper Flagg on the floor. I don't think you're going to need Cooper Flagg on the floor to be in a situation to win the first game, but definitely for that Mississippi State-Baylor winner coming up on Sunday.
Roy, how about you?
For me, it's Akron's Nate Johnson. He can get it up. He has a heater, 31 points, 22 points the last couple games. He's dynamic from the floor. He can play defense. So I feel like he has a chance to make a name for himself and maybe have like a Golke type Oakland's Golke last year to be able to go out and score. Maybe put some, you know, some tears in somebody's hearts and some fans' hearts out there. But he's an excellent player. He plays under control, stops pops, and can shoot in the three-point line and in the paint. So he's a good mid-range player who also plays defense as well.
He cooked Wally's alma mater.
Put some tears in my heart last night, man. Yeah. That dude absolutely was on fire against my Redhawks. They made 15 threes, couldn't win. My guy to watch is John Tonje. He shot 1 for 15 in the championship game today in the Big Ten. Back in '99, when we lost in the MAC tournament championship, I had my worst game of the year, shot 4 for 17. I was never more motivated to light it up in the NCAA tournament. I think John Tonje is going to do the same thing. He had played his 4th game in 4 days. He was exhausted. He didn't have his legs. He can get some rest now, gear up to take over again like he did for the all season in the NCAA tournament.
All right, well, our guy Pete Gillen is the 2nd all-time winningest coach in Xavier history.
Oh, yeah.
Providence, the Elite 8 once upon a time. So, Gary, you're standing by with him. I want to know what he thinks of this East bracket here.
All right, Coach Gillen, we're going to break down the East Regional, starting with Duke, the #1 seed, which is a perfect place to start because of all your famous quotes over the years. The most famous might be Duke is Duke on TV more than Leave It to Beaver. Is Duke still Duke, or are you going to advance them in this bracket?
I want these guys to be my agents. My wife, you know, she yells at me, throws pictures at me.
Yeah, we all been there.
Duke, of course, once again, worried about Cooper Flagg, but they're going to roll. They'll win that one. Mississippi State and Baylor, that's a heck of a game. 8-9 usually is, but I think Mississippi State is a little too physical, too aggressive. And VJ Edgecombe, the great freshman, is great, but I think Mississippi State has too many answers, so I think they'll move on. Now, right here, Liberty and Oregon, all right? The famous Patrick Henry said, Give me Liberty or give me the Liberty. I'm taking Liberty. It's the biggest upset since I got a date with Marianne Bacala in junior high. Dad owned a fish store. So Marianne Bacala, all right, Liberty, why? Because they shoot threes great. We had them a few times this year in Conference USA. They won the regular season and the tournament. All right, Matheny's a great three-point shooter. Zach Cleveland's a terrific player. Now, the guards are 5'10 and 5'11. I mean, they're like munchkins, but they really can shoot the ball. Liberty, great upset over Oregon. I love Oregon, but Liberty's going to win that one. Arizona, Akron, I love John Gross, did a great job in the Mid-American Conference, but Arizona, too big, too athletic, so the Wildcats move on.
All right, let's go to the bottom part of this bracket now. We'll start at the top with BYU, VCU. That's your A-10 champions.
Right. Another upset. I love Max Shulga, young man from Ukraine, okay? He's 23, 24. These older guys. I mean, these guys, you know, they're getting money from the, federal government for retirement. VCU. I mean, Shulga's old. Bassamil's been to 4 schools. He's been all over the place. He's he's a wrecking machine. So I'm saying an upset. All right, Ryan Odom, he's got great genes. His dad, Dave Odom, is a great coach at Wake Forest in South Carolina. VCU upset over BYU. Wisconsin's on a roll, shooting the ball well, good D. All right, first team to 50 wins, but I go with Wisconsin. St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. That's a terrific game. St. Mary's, I did one of the games this year. Great coach, unbelievable. Does a great job against Vanderbilt. Now, I'm a little partial. True disclosure, all right? Vanderbilt, the coach, there, okay, Mark Byington was one of my grad assistants. So I have to go with the family. Vanderbilt upset in St. Mary's, which because they got good offense against tremendous defense. They have a scoreboard. That's why we go offense. Vanderbilt upset St. Mary's. Alabama, Mark Sears, mentioned before, great player. They're too good for Robert Morris.
All right, Coach Stowe, it looks like we got 2 double-digit seeds advancing at least to the round of 32. Both of them start with V's, VCU, and Vanderbilt.
Now, the last time I was right, Bobby Dick was a minnow, so don't bet the mortgage on it.
Same year. Guy on the
I'm wrapped. All right, I'm out.
CBS.
It's unbelievable.
Stephen Colbert.
But one of those double-digit seeds was not the Akron Zips, which is not going to make Wally happy.
That's right. I'll pick them in mine.
Look at the bids broken down by conference, and we knew it would happen. The SEC breaks the previous Big East record with 14 teams in this year's field. Big Ten 8, Big 12 there with 7. When we come back, we break down the West region. St. John's 2 seed in the West. Rick Pitino taking his 6th school to an NCAA tournament. We'll discuss them and much, much more here till 10 Eastern.
It's the 3rd time ever the Florida Gators find themselves as a top seed in the NCAA tournament. And it tends to work out pretty well for them. Both times they made it to the Final Four, and in 2007, they won the Natty.
Florida takes its place in history.
After 4 straight first weekend exits, head coach Todd Golden has this Florida team chomping for more, especially the senior transfer trio of Martin, Clayton, and Richard.
Out to Richard for 3 up top. Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Back out to Clayton. Up top, deep 3. Yo! Wow, what a play by Elijah Martin.
The Swamp will certainly be rocking if the Gators can dance all the way to their first championship since going back-to-back in 06 and 07.
Florida, the top seed in the West. SEC tournament champs earlier today. They get Norfolk State. Then the 8-9 match was UConn, Oklahoma. Memphis, Colorado State. The Rams have won 10 straight. Maryland and Grand Canyon. Bryce Drew matches wits with Kevin Willard. We heard Kevin earlier in the show. Missouri Drake, Texas Tech, UNCW. Your guy Takeo Siddle there coaching UNCW, Chris. Kansas all the way down at a 7 seed against Calipari, St. John's, and Omaha. Chris, we'll start with you here in the West. Biggest threat to that number 1 seed Florida in your mind?
You already know where I'm going. I'm going with the Big East. I'm going with the UConn Huskies.
Oh, yeah.
Disrespected. Now, again, they didn't win the Big East. They didn't win the Big East tournament. But how can you bet against the 2-time defending national champions with, and I'll let him say it, the best coach in the sport? Again, once you get in the tournament, forget about who got in and why they shouldn't have got in. As you said, Gary, it's all about what happens now. And for some reason, I just believe this guy has a secret sauce. They got some challenges at the point guard position. Played without Liam McNeely this year. But I just believe that there's a secret sauce there, and Danny Hurley will figure it out against Florida. And I just think they're the ones that will get it done.
I will also stay in the Big East, but I'll go with the Big East best team, and that is St. John's. I mean, it's a 30-win team coached by Rick Pitino, Big East regular season champs, Big East tournament champs. The Red Storm were never going to have the resume stuff to justify a #1 seed. But if you just use your eyeballs, watch the games, everything about this team looks like Final Four contender, national championship contender. This is maybe not the best resume of the 2 seeds, but I think this is the scariest 2 seed. This is the one I would not have wanted in my region.
Okay, how about a Cinderella out of the West region?
I'm going to go with Drake. This is the #1 defensive team in the country. First matchup, they play against Missouri, who's an offensive-minded team, likes to run. Drake is not going to let you do that. I think they can pull off that upset and that victory. Bennett Sturtz, he gets buckets all over the place. Tough shot maker. A lot like Steph Curry. I mean, I was watching him play in that MVC tournament saying, that's a terrible shot. And he's making them like it's just a pull-up jumper with nobody in his face. And then if they do win that, they would probably have to go up against possibly Texas Tech, UNCW. Texas Tech a little banged up. Another offensive-minded team. This Drake team, I think, can pull off some upsets and get at least to the Sweet 16.
Their head coach, Ben McCollum, going to join us top of the hour. Roy is eagerly awaiting to fill out the bracket in this West. What do you have for us, big fella?
All right, well, I hope we have a little bit of fun here. I know Seawalk is going to be throwing some jabs or something like that with my picks. But we starting off with Florida. They definitely get past Norfolk State. I feel like they're too big, too athletic. They showed me something the last 2 weeks that really had me impressed, so they're moving on. UConn versus Oklahoma. I unfortunately have Oklahoma beating them. You know, I feel like the aura, like the kids have been saying, I think that's like the Webster's word of the year for the young kids. It's just not there. It's not there anymore. So I think Colorado State gets past Memphis. A little bit of an upset. Nick Clifford's been playing great. The last couple of games, he's been astonishing. Now, Maryland, I feel like they're going to have their way with Grand Canyon. Derek Queen is going to have a good warm-up game for his first, NCAA tournament right there. Then Missouri versus Drake. I got Missouri. They're playing the best conference right there. Sturtz, he's going to have a hot game, but sometimes I feel like the rest of their team and their bench doesn't come to play as much. Now, Texas Tech gets past UNCW. JT Toppin's one of the best big guys I've ever seen. Not ever seen, sorry, my apologies, but he's one of the best, most skilled bigs right there. Then right here, Kansas versus Arkansas. I'm actually going with Arkansas right here. I believe in Hunter Dickinson, but the rest of the team, I feel like they let me down. Hunter gets his numbers, but I don't think they get past Arkansas. And now St. John's versus Oklahoma. St. John's definitely gets past Omaha. So basically, St. John's gets it done.
Okay, good job, big fella. Are you ready to throw a couple of jabs? Or maybe
I got one. Man, that bracket is busted already.
Oh, I got a jab for Seawalk here. Wow. Drake, one of 2 teams in the last 5 years that has had 25-plus wins in each of the last 5 seasons. Who's the other one?
The other one, I have no idea.
Come on, you call yourself a Houston homie?
What, Houston?
Yeah.
I picked Houston with national championships, though.
Okay, well, they're the other team that's won 25-plus in the last 5. Drake and Houston. Watch out for the Drake Bulldogs.
What day is that game? They're going to be going home on Thursday.
But did you have some holes you wanted to punch, by the way?
Yeah, punch some holes for sure. First one, that Saturday game, it'll be Missouri, Texas Tech. Let's go back up to the top of the bracket with Memphis, which is insane. You got Colorado State beating Memphis.
I don't know if they can go backwards.
There it is. Colorado State beating Memphis. And I just said UConn is the biggest threat. You got Oklahoma, 6-12.
The aura's not there. Jeremiah Fears is going to show no fear
They need to fear Danny Hurley. That's what they need to fear.
Okay.
Who's got the better player, Fears or
UConn is better than Oklahoma. Let's stop that. Well, the 14 teams getting in. Let's get out of here. But UConn's better than Oklahoma.
GP's going to sit this one out.
They decided to turn this into a game show.
Feels like it.
He's asking me questions and stuff.
Trivia time.
Trivia time.
When we come back, we head to the Midwest region, where High Point is appearing in its first NCAA Tournament program history, led by Big South Coach of the Year, Alan Huss.
The Cougars are back on the one line for the 3rd straight year and won consecutive conference titles in their first 2 years in the Big 12.
Big 12 champs! Big 12 champs!
After last year's loss to Duke in the Sweet 16, these Cougs have been clawing back all season with one goal in mind, a natty in their home state. L.J. Cryer came back for his 5th year, leading the Cougars this season and notching 1,000 career points in the red and white.
Bounce pass to Cryer, right wing, launches a three, got it.
Still more history for him if he becomes the first player to win the Natty at 2 schools. One thing Kelvin Sampson's Cougs are hoping to scratch from the record books: most Final Four appearances without a title. Could they do it 3 hours west of their home arena?
How about the bracket in that Midwest region with Houston as the 1 seed, the 8-9 matchup, Gonzaga, Georgia, Clemson, and McNeese. You want to talk about an intriguing 12-5. Down there, Illinois is going to get Texas or Xavier. Kentucky, the 3, UCLA, Utah State, Tennessee, 2 seed opens Thursday in Lexington. How about a first-round matchup to watch in this Midwest region?
I'll go with Gonzaga, Georgia in that 8-9 game. And I know that's not the sexiest matchup, of the first round. But Gonzaga's got one of, if not the biggest, streak attached to the NCAA tournament at stake this week. The Zags, of course, have made 9 straight Sweet 16s. You know the way this works, still. You can't get to a 10th straight without winning your first game. They got to beat Georgia, or else that streak is over.
Pete, how about you?
Gary is one of my idols. I got a lot of idols, Wally also, but I'm agreeing with him. I think Gonzaga and Georgia is a great matchup. I saw Georgia live down in the Bahamas when Georgia played St. John's. They beat the Johnnies by 3, so they're very impressive. Heck of a team, but Gonzaga is sleeping. They're like Rip Van Winkle. They're just sleeping in the woods, right? 8th seed, all right? They got maybe one of the best point guards in the country, Ryan Emhart, 10 assists a game. All right, Wally, you like to play with a guy like that. Forget about it. And Graham Ike is a good big guy inside. And Georgia's good, but I go Gonzaga is the matchup I want to see. Gonzaga moves on. Well,
yeah, I have to agree with you guys, and this is why. Because you look, Gonzaga is just a team that's been great in the NCAA tournament. They're going against maybe the 10th best team in the SEC. I love the SEC. I think the SEC is going to prove how good they are. I think they're going to win this game against Gonzaga. And let's not forget, everyone's all over St. John's. Georgia, the 10th best team in the SEC, beat St. John's on a neutral court earlier in the year. You called the game. So this is an intriguing one to see how those lower-level SEC teams that a lot of people were questioning do in the tournament.
All right, Chris, do the right thing. I see McNeese right there. Will Wade, do not bet against Will Wade this time of year. What do you
I just appreciate Wally for making my point from about them lower seed SEC teams. Hey, you know where I'm going. I'm from H-Town. Shout out to the Scott Street Bullies. They're moving on with ease. Gonzaga, coach, I agree with you. They played St. John's early in the year. It's their only win they've had in the preseason. Georgia does not win. That's a 25th team in the SEC to get in. I'm going with Gonzaga. Clemson, McNeese, Will Wade, he won't be there long. You're right, but I'm not going with him, Brent. Was that an orange tie? I don't think so. Brad Barnell moves on. Purdue and High Point, Allen Huss, my boy, doing a great job. Jerry Prom's still here, but this is going to be the high point of High Point season. Purdue moves on.
Chalk.
Let's go. We're going to go through it quick. Let's go. Hey, man, I'm just calling it like it is.
Look at him.
Going to the next area. Let's move it up. Move it up. I'm going too fast. Illinois, Xavier. Illinois is going to play. I'm a Big East guy. I love Sean Miller. I'm going with family. Texas moves on, and Texas will beat Illinois. Too much youth. I don't think they'll beat them. Kentucky and Troy, let's move on. I like my boy at Troy, big time Scott, but, they're going to move on. Kentucky. We're moving down to UCLA, Utah State. Jared Calhoun, he worked for Rollie Massimini. UCLA, moving on, boom. Tennessee, Wofford, of course. Let's go right there, chalk, like we say. We
Pretty
keep
chalky
this going.
there.
I go quick now. We get them all.
Are you comfortable, Wally, with what Chris
He's got to be.
put
It's
out
all
there?
right.
Yeah, he said he's a Big East guy, but he picked Xavier. So
I said family,
Houston?
Texas, family.
Oh, okay.
Rodney Terry.
I got you.
Okay. All right, you going to go the rest?
Oh, let's go. Let's keep going. We're going Houston, beat Gonzaga. Great job of going with Houston over Gonzaga. All right, I'm going to go Purdue over Clemson. We got a Houston-Purdue matchup. I think it's great. Let's go Texas, but they can't beat Kentucky. I'm going to go with Kentucky to get it done. Mark Pope moving on this first year, getting his team to a big-time level. UCLA and Tennessee. Yes, I have to, unfortunately, go with another SEC team that I think they're going to make it. Rick Barnes, that's going to be Tennessee and Kentucky. That's a great matchup. Houston, Purdue, great matchup, right? That's what TV wants to see right there.
1, 2, 3, 4?
That's what TV wants to see. Let's call Dan Weinberg right now. That's what they want to see.
Dan Weinberg, head of programming. I'm sure he's watching, and yeah, he's pleased with that. Are you comfortable with that, Chief?
Pretty chalky. Also, Seawalk, you were like one more Texas win away from him getting Rodney Terry a contract extension. You couldn't put him.
No, I got rid of him, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I got him. I gave him enough love. Rodney, I gave you enough love, but you got to go. All right, now we're going to Houston versus Purdue. Is Jerry in anywhere? Houston's moving on, of course. They're my team to get to the Final Four. And Kentucky versus Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee and their experience. Houston versus Tennessee to get to the Final Four.
That's as good
That's how you do it real quick.
Hey, listen, that's how you do the board.
I don't play games.
I don't want to blow you up, Chris, but that's how you run the board, right?
You got to get through it quick. Who's going to win the national championship?
Houston.
I like it.
That's a big guess that he didn't pick Houston.
Houston?
No, I figured Chris would go that way for sure. Forget about it. I mean, the whole world started in freaking
He's the board of director.
Exactly.
And politics.
The board of directors.
Hey, Tillman Fertitta's listening. I'm trying to, you know.
Yeah, exactly. More March Madness bracket breakdown inside the final hour when we return right after this.
Dive into the biggest moments from the big dance with NCAA March Madness Bracket Breakdown tomorrow on CBS Sports Network.